Hello guys, once again thank you for joining me today. Hope you're all having a good day. I am going to be working on my 2017 Corolla IM, as you can see right behind me here, and I'm going to be taking it on a trip from Washington State down to New Mexico and next month in September. So I want to get the oil changed and do a couple other things before the trip to make sure that it was ready to go. But I am going to be adding a couple of glow shift gauges to this car. I have these same gauges in my 2009 Turbo Corolla, and I really like them, so I wanted to add them to this car too. So I've got an oil pressure gauge and a oil temperature gauge, and these are the Elite 10 series. You can pick your own color to match the interior color of the car for the lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and install those. And another thing that we will be putting on is a sandwich plate. As you can see, I've got the oil filter off already. I've drained the oil, but this is where the sandwich plate will go, and then I will run the wires up the right here. First thing, I'll take a look at these gauges, and I know from installing them on my 09 Turbo Corolla, it is really nice that they come with a feature that lets you link the gauges together. Run a connection to one, and then this jumper wire right here that you see kind of goes around. It connects from one gauge to the next. So this one, what I need to do is I need to install the sensor in the sandwich plate. I installed the same sandwich plate in my 09, and it seems like a good quality one. And then on this, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 places that you can hook the sensors to. So checking the orientation of this, I'm going to put this one here and this one here. So this is closer to the engine block, so it'll give me a little more room. I guess 14 millimeter was my first choice, and that's what it ended up being. 242, 22 millimeter on this bugger. So I need to put the two plugs in. Wow, I am hot today. You can pick the right size Allen right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of thread sealant on these guys too. Blanks in on both sides. So now I need to concentrate on getting the wiring harnesses run, and I need to feed them through the firewall. I am going to remove the wiper cowl because it gives me better access behind it to fish the wires through. First thing to do, pop the two tops off to expose the. Then we can take the wipers off. Sometimes it takes a little of just kind of wiggling it and get it to loosen. You got to remove this tray. This one just has a couple of clips that if you get a small screwdriver or something and you push down on the middle, then you can pop them up and get them out. This has two removable pieces. The clip just came right off with it, so unclip those. It'll make it easier to get the whole thing out. There is a wiring harness. You can kind of hear it unclip and unsnap. There we go. As it kind of comes out there. Oh, good. I thought it was clipped to this. It's actually clipped to the metal one down below it. Need to remove the wiper motor, which 2 or 3 10 millimeter bolts. This looks like it's got 2. What I normally do next is unclip. There we go. Wiper motor plug is just right here on the edge. Actually very easy to get to on this car. Some of them are a little harder. And then this right here, do not hit your windshield, but just slide it to the left and then tilt it and rotate it out. This plastic or rubber knob here slides right between that little U-shaped piece there. And what this does as this exposes the main structural piece of this, which is a metal tray, and there's a whole slew of 10 millimeter bolts that are buried in it. So we just want to start taking all those out. If you bend it out of the way, it'll move out easier. So it's just kind of a safe piece. But you'll see, in literally a few minutes, you have access to so much more room. And you can see what's going on and choose where you want to go through. So I have the 2 wiring harnesses here, and I've got them in some of the plastic split loom and then some fire resistant covering over that. Here is the sandwich plate now. You got the wiring all done down here, all protected, and with some tie straps going. You can see them kind of right above there, and I'm just going to follow that wire loom. And then what I also want to do is I'm going to go ahead and install a Fumoto oil valve. Dang it, just whacked my head. This car does have an under tray, so I feel okay putting it there. I don't like using them when there's no protection here, but I'm good on this car. Got the Fumoto valve on there and all snug down. So if you are doing this was a 26 millimeter socket that I used to snug this down. And I used a 19 millimeter wrench to grab the body of this. Everything is ready to go there. I just pre-filled my oil filter. Try to spin that on and see if we can. Yeah. As you can see, I don't lose a whole lot. I'm using a YZZ F1 filter, 9915 YZZ F1. You can also use an N1 that's a little bit shorter, but there is more than enough room, as you can see. So I use the F1 where I have the space. When you're bringing the wires into the cabin, easiest thing to do is just pop off the glove box, and then you have access to underneath here. You can see there's this cover right here that normally kind of goes like that. So I just popped it back, and then you can see the cable right here where I brought it through the grommet. And what I did is, honestly, I just took a, let's see here, a long, small screwdriver, and I just poked it through the grommet there until it came out the other end. And then I fed through a small piece of metal hanger that I'd cut and straightened out, pushed it through the hole, and then when it was in the engine bay, I just taped the wire onto it, and then I pulled it back through. So, and now, as you can see, I have the wires for both gauges. Here's where this finished up. So the wire bundle came up right to there, and then I popped it through that grommet right there. So it comes from behind this cover right here, and that's where that grommet is. I used 2 fuses, and I couldn't really show them to you, but you can see there. They're super easy to do. So you need one for a switched and one for an unswitched. So a switched is where you have power only when the key is in the on position. Unswitched, it has power all the time. So I just used a simple light probe, and I grounded it. That's all it does. Is this has a ground, snap it around something for a ground, and then use this tip to test different fuses with the key off and the key on. And once you find your 2, remove the fuse, use the proper add a fuse one for that same type of fuse, and it goes in. This whole add a fuse plugs into where the original fuse was. Here is the ground wire I made. So I'm going to attach that right behind that bolt right there. So I just used a spade connector, the ground wire there, running up behind this. I ran the 3 wires into a little piece of the plastic wire loom, And that's only like an inch long. So just to cover where the dash mat is. And although with the door closed, you'll never see that anyway. And then the wires are running under the dash mat. Right now I've got them popping out right here because the gauges are gonna go right in that area. And this wire is running from inside where the gauges will be. And this is designed to where it will dim the gauges at night. So when you have your headlights on, it will dim them. So you need to tap this in to a headlight circuit. And I figured it was the easiest thing to do was to find under the fuse box. These 4 fuses right here are for the headlights. So I want a low beam one. I ran the wire that goes to the gauges so they'll dim when I turn my headlights on. So it's this top one right there, and I popped out of the same hole that I brought this out of, and I just tucked it up underneath along the firewall there, and then brought it right over here, and I tapped it into the low beam headlight fuse inside the fuse box. So I'm doing a quick test to make sure the gauges seem to be working for all electrical. So turn the key on and both of them lit up, both needles moved. So here's my oil, what is that, oil pressure, and then here's my oil temperature. So once I put oil into the engine, then I'll go ahead and start it up and make sure that both sensors are working okay. But I'm psyched to have the gauges installed. So all the all the wiring and stuff is just below underneath the dash mat to both sides. So I've run the sensor wires like I showed before from where the gauges were going to be, and now they're mounted right here underneath the dash mat, and then down the side here, and then they go up through the grommet right here. So snap the glove box back in, both trim pieces. Can't even tell now. Everything's buttoned up on the insides. So now it is time to put the metal wiper cowl tray in. It's a pretty easy process to do this. Once you get it laid down in there, then you'll see all the holes kind of line up for the tins. It's a matter of putting all these in. I usually like to start them by hand. And that is how simple that is. So next is the wiper motor. There are 2 long 10mm bolts for this. And the big key on this is that this rubber piece right here slides in right behind that little U-shaped piece of metal. You want to tilt it down under the windshield. Don't hit your windshield because you don't want to crack it. And then if you line up that rubber grommet piece and slide it over, these 2 tins will line right up. And the wiper motor is in. Last piece is the plastic cover. It snaps right in like that, just slides in. And there's a couple clips that hold it in with other pieces that snap into this tray right here. But before I do that, I always clean it up, so I want to clean it up, wipe it down, and then I treat it to protect it. This piece is really simple, but you just want to make sure that you get these clips right here underneath the windshield and this piece of rubber above the windshield. So the key on this car is it's got, on each corner here, it's got a little plastic piece that snaps under this one. Once all of those kind of get on the right side of that windshield, generally slide up. There we go, and there it went. So you just got to work across and make sure that they're all getting in the right place. And it doesn't really take a lot of pressure to do it. It'll just slide right in. There are 2 plastic clips, 1 for each side. These just have a little tab where you push down in the middle of them. So pop it back up like that. I'm big proponent of taking care of your wipers. If you take care of the wipers, keep the rubber treated, keep the glass clean, they will last an extremely long time. This is a 2017, so it's 8 years old now, and it still has the original OEM wiper blades on it. My 2009 Corolla still has its original wiper blades, and they work streak free. So it doesn't take much effort. Some cars you have to futz with the hood up and down to get clearance and stuff for it. But and last but not least, this car has a couple of trim pieces that snap over each end kind of and cover up this part. Both pieces look really good. I don't see any drips or anything from either one. The filter from the new drain plug or from either sender up there. Both are dry.